Hey everyone, Tom from Black Toe Studio. Hope you're all doing well. We are now going to be diving into something a little bit different. I know I've been covering some Black Templars recently, but we are looking at Sisters of Battle today. As some of you followers of the channel may know, I have an Argent Shroud army that I started a long while ago and kind of put down for a bit. And I was trying to figure out the reasons why I put it down and didn't really go back to it. And in the long run, it kind of worked out that I didn't really like the colour scheme. I'm quite happy with the army choice and things like that, but I originally collected Sisters a long time ago, when we were talking 20 years ago, and they were back, when they were metal models, etc. And I did a Bloody Rose army, and I really loved that back then. I sold all those models a long time ago, got rid of them, and didn't really come back to Sisters until they came out officially again with their re-release, which I was so happy about at the time. And I said to myself, let's do Argent Shroud. They gel with my Templars quite well, etc, etc, etc. And I did about, I think, 30 Battle Sisters, a couple of tanks, etc, which I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, at the time, I thought I was enjoying it. But then I put them down for over a year or so, didn't really come back to them. And then I realised after looking at them, I just wasn't happy with the colour scheme for starters. And I was also a little bit disappointed that I didn't go back and do the army that I originally did. So this is all about converting the Argent Shroud army, and I say converting, repainting basically, into the Bloody Rose. And so that's where we're going to start off today, kind of show you where we're at, what I've done. I've done some test models, I've done a bit of investigation how I want to do bits and pieces of the army. So let's start off by having a look at kind of what I've done in Bloody Rose, and then what we've got to convert, and then some future plans. Alright, so here we are, starting off with what I've already got. These are the ones I've already painted. We're going to go into the full army, what I have left to do in a second. But here is the current test/converted models for my Bloody Rose. So as you can see, we've got a couple of rhinos. We've got an exorcist and an immolator sitting there in a semi-completed state. And at the front here we have 5 of the Sisters of Battle I did a test paint on. So here we go. Let's have a little close look at some of these. So we have a Sister Superior. Let's put that to one side. We have some normal Battle Sisters here, which I think came out quite well actually. These were originally obviously an Argent Shroud, which I'll show you the point where they came from shortly. We then also have a couple of other ones here. I mean, I literally picked a few models that I quite like the aesthetic of, and the ones that I thought would be good to show off my new scheme that I'm doing to sort of theme around the Bloody Rose. Okay, so that's those two there as well. And then we'll just shift over to some of the vehicles. So the rhinos are probably the ones that are the most completed out of all of them. These are finished. I've just got to put the Hunter Killers on, which I'm actually having trouble locating at the moment, which is a bit bizarre. I don't know where I put them, but I'll find them. I'm sure they're in a bits box somewhere, or I've put them on a shelf just out of the way, because these models have been sitting around for a little while waiting for some attention. But yeah, so we have 2 of these rhinos which are fully finished, bar the bit I just spoke about. So yeah, quite happy with them. This is the scheme I'm going for. So it's fairly simple to paint actually, in the grand scheme of things. And then finally we have back here, I'll just bring these into focus, we have 2 more vehicles, obviously the Immolator and the Exorcist here. I do love the Exorcist, but I did find them a real pain to paint. I mean, I'll first tilt this on its side here, you can see just looking inside the cockpit there, the nightmare of all of the the keys for the piano, or organ I should say, and various other bits that are on there. You've got roses literally just sitting inside there as well. And then obviously the Immolator. This is actually detachable. I made a small mistake on this because I glued on this kind of perspexy bit, which is obviously stained glass, and what I had to do, I couldn't base spray it, so I've been hand painting the base coat on. So that's kind of where that is at the moment. But yeah, it's fine. I won't make the mistake on another model that I buy for that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with them painted at the moment. So I'm just going to basically bring out the rest of my army and just show you the state that it's currently in, so we can mark a bit of progress as we go along. All right, so Argent Shroud is where I was at. And some people made fair comments that they quite liked the theme of the army and the look of it. However, I just don't think I gelled with it as much as I did with the original army architecture, which was the Bloody Rose. So I made that decision, as you can see from the previous part of this video, that it was going to be converted over. So this is kind of where we're coming from. Now, what I've found is that in general, those sister battle models that I did, as in like the sisters, were fairly easy to convert over, because obviously these are all technically base coated, even if it is in silver, because that's all that I really put on these models. So what I will be doing is a similar technique, which is where we go over the silver armour with the red, colour it up as the way I want it for the Bloody Rose, and then essentially do the cloth elements in the black. Unfortunately, obviously I did the inside of the robes red, so I have to do the outside back in black, and then I have to redo the insides in white. So there's a fair. That's probably the most time-consuming part of doing these ones. You know, I could go around and respray them all base, but to be honest, I think I'm just adding more layers of paint that I don't really need to, which just means the way I'm doing it now, I don't have to strip it. Now, the other thing we've got here, obviously, is I thought this would be quite an interesting one to have on here, is the Exorcist that I did. Bring it up nice and close here so we can actually have a look at it. And yeah, at the time, I was really happy with how this came out. However, over time, I found myself becoming more and more kind of not sure I really like it. There's just something about the proportion of colours that it doesn't suit, or I think the white on silver, not really the greatest combination in the end. It's one of those things, I think, when you paint something for the first time, you really like what you've chosen, and then you put it away for a bit and come back to it and you go, do you know what, nah, that's not for me. I think the thing I liked the most on these was the fire effects on the sconces on the side here, which they came out quite nicely. So, but yeah, so obviously we've got that to sort of sort out. I do also have Celestine and her 2 bodyguard, which I did a long time ago. So we're going to get that back in red, just to match with the army. It's definitely one of my favourite models in the range, to be fair. This one, because the armour ended up being a solid piece of silver, essentially, I don't think I need to do too much of this. So I think I'm going to change obviously this to black, and then essentially I might darken the wings down. I don't know. I quite like the bright wings, as in like the clean white wings. I think that looks quite cool. So I'll make a decision on that at some point, but I'm really not too sure just yet. This is probably one of the last things I'm going to probably come back to and actually redo in the new colour scheme. So you know, that's it. We do have now one of these as well, which pendant engines, that's what I'm looking for, and because this is what came in the original Sisters set when they released it back a couple of years ago, or 3 years. I lose track now. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this one, because I don't know if it needs to be fully red, or if I quite like it the way it is, and I suppose the pendant engines can be a slightly different, I suppose, colour if I want. I mean, I think if I was going to do it, I might just do it fully black rather than red, because it breaks up the look of the army. But I'll again, won't be one of the first things I'm doing. I think on the whole, with this changeover, I'm going to be concentrating on the 20 or so Sisters of Battle we have in front of you here. I do have Hospitaller as well, and obviously a leader in here, and I've got a couple other models knocking about, which are for essentially. I think they were just collector's ones, so a couple of the... actually, I wonder if I've got it... I'm just checking if I've actually got it around, but I seem to have mislaid it. But yeah, it's another Sister Superior, but I've got so many of them now, so it's not necessarily on the top priority list. But again, it will have to be done just to get it all in line. So ultimately, that's where the current army at. So we're going from Argent Shroud to Bloody Rose. I do have one other thing to quickly throw in here, which I'll just be back with in a second. And yeah, so this is the final part, which is a combat patrol. This was bought in advance of 10th, because a few of us, kind of in our friendship group, were deciding to maybe try some combat patrol games, and we all kind of decided which army we were going to do. I picked Sisters of Battle. I know I already had this, but I wanted to expand it out at some point. Now, when this actually gets done, I don't know. I haven't quite decided, because I think I might finish the stuff I've already got before going on to the combat patrol, so I'm going to have to really push myself to get to get to opening this box. I don't really want to open it until the other stuff is done, because I just feel like I'm adding more to a pile that I've actually over the sort of last 3 or 4 months has gone down, which is nice, and I haven't really added an awful lot of models in general. So trying to stick to that plan. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. We'll have to see how the, the spending sprees go in the model shops. But yeah, ultimately that's where we're at now. So let's just have a quick chat about where we're going after that. All right, so that's it. Quite a bit to do, obviously. I'm hoping to get this kind of weaved in between Black Templar videos and then Sister Battles. I'm going to kind of alternate them if I can. It really probably depends on what I've got my head into painting at the moment and at the time. But I will try and make it so that we have some Black Templar one, Bloody Rose one, etc., etc. So we'll just split between the two. You know, there might be a few gaps in between them because some of the models I've got to do are reasonably complicated, especially the Exorcist. That is probably going to take me a little bit of time because I've tried to take a bit more time over these ones to try and get the scheme the way I want them. But yeah, and then obviously ending with the Combat Patrol there, that's another thing that I need to get assembled and painted. I'm probably going down the route of assembling one item from the Combat Patrol, painting it, and then starting on another one once the backlog of the other ones from Argent, Shroud to Bloody Rose has been done. So yeah, quite a bit to do. I'm quite excited about it. I hope you guys are as well. For any of you that would really like my Argent Shroud army, apologies. This is where we're going now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you it progress. And as usual, thank you very much for watching. If you have liked our videos or any of our other content, please give us a like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me and Dom. Check the links in our description for some of the affiliates we have, especially Goblin Gaming, fantastic company. Definitely give them a piece of your money if you can. It's helpful to us and helpful to them. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. This is Tom from Black Studio, and I'll see you in the next one.